Breaking news, first alert weather, live local coverage. This is News 10 at 6.
Are you tired of tipping? Well, so is the staff at one Mid-Michigan coffee shop. Good evening. I'm David Andrews. The Fortress Cafe in Jackson County is taking a different approach to making sure its workers take home a fair wage, and it doesn't involve tipping. News 10's Riley Connell explains.
When you walk into a coffee shop or restaurant, you expect to have the opportunity to leave a tip. But not here at Fortress Cafe in Jackson. Instead, their employees make a percentage of every sale. It's a system that they started back in January in hopes of fighting back against what the owner calls tip fatigue. A percentage of that latte went to your barista. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think that the people who are working are the people who should be sharing in the profits.
In a post-pandemic world, customers like Matt Laura say leaving a tip is no longer about good service, but rather trying not to drown in rising inflation. It's the same reason that Fortress Cafe owner Duncan Bone and his employees decided to do away with tips altogether.
It bothered me that at times they would have to depend on somebody else's generosity for their income.
For every sandwich, latte, or muffin sold, Ben Rhodes makes a percentage of the sale. It's not the first time he's worked a service industry job without tips, but he says it is the first time it meant taking home a bigger paycheck.
It saves you a couple extra bucks on feeling the obligation to tip, allows you to then buy something else, buy yourself another snack or something, which in turn, buying that extra thing is still paying me.
We just want everybody to have an awesome experience when they come to Fortress and not have any weird added financial benefit or negative experience.
Trying to give employees the wages they deserve and take the pressure off customer service for both sides of the register. In Jackson, Riley Connell, News 10.
Fortress Cafe owner Duncan Bone says the no-tip system may not work for every business, but he's encouraging other employers to get creative when it comes to paying employees a living wage. A live look from our Delta Township sky cam on this Friday evening. A stretch of hot weather is about to make its way to mid-Michigan, but not before a slight nice stretch. Andy Provenzano in the Weather Center tells us about the night ahead. Happy Friday, Andy.
Same to you, David. Yeah, our temperatures tonight down to 50, 52. Let that cool weather into your house or your apartment, and go with no air conditioning tomorrow because we're going to crank them up on Sunday. We've got a really pleasant day. Take a look at the satellite picture. Radar shows absolutely nothing going on, and we won't even see a cloud later on tonight as readings get to those low 50s. But all good-looking Skycam shots, part of the Meridian Company Skycam network. Our temperatures have been near 80 or at 80 most of the day, some upper 70s with a few more clouds around. These are right on target. The normal high is about 78, 79 statewide. Unless the winds off Lake Superior, still in pretty good shape, and we will be again tomorrow, spending most of the day in the 70s, touching around 80 degrees before it's all said and done. High so far today is 81, same thing in Ionia, but it's going to be closer to 90 by Sunday and well into the 90s next week. Forecast details are coming up.
New at 6, a 43-year-old man died early this morning in the Clinton County Jail. He was arrested around 11 o'clock last night by Bath Township Police, who suspected he was driving drunk. Just after 3 o'clock this morning, the man was seen having a medical emergency while in the Clinton County Jail. Jail officials say he was taken to University of Michigan Health Sparrow Hospital in St. John's, where he later died. No other inmates or staff were hurt or had any medical concerns. Right now, investigators are trying to figure out what led to his death. Also in Clinton County, Sheriff's Office deputies are trying to figure out what led to the deadly crash in Victor Township. It happened just before 11:30 this morning on Hollister Road near Parker Road. An 18-year-old man rear-ended a 34-year-old Langsburg woman driving a mail delivery truck. Both drivers were taken to the hospital where the young man died of his injuries. That crash remains under investigation tonight. A local nonprofit says several of its kayaks were stolen on Memorial Day. The people who run Building 21 say someone in an SUV pulled up to their teen center in Mason just after 11 p.m. on Memorial Day. The nonprofit says each kayak stolen was worth around $1,000.
Unfortunately, it was at night, and our security cameras caught the car pulling in and pulling out. and we just couldn't make out the faces, couldn't make out the license plate in the car because of the angle of the surveillance systems. So we did have them, but at nighttime, with being really far away, it was really hard to catch.
Anyone with information about these stolen kayaks should contact the Ingham County Sheriff's Office. Lansing fire crews trying to figure out what caused a building to catch fire overnight. It happened around 1 this morning on North Larch Street near Cesar Chavez Street. Lansing Fire Department says nobody was injured, but part of the roof collapsed as crews battled the blaze. It's unclear if that commercial building that caught fire is currently in use by any business, but the property is listed for sale by several real estate companies. You may use companies like Shipt or Instacart to get groceries delivered right to your home. Well, right now, bipartisan bills making their way through the state legislature would stop these services from being double taxed. News 10 Capitol correspondent Zachariah Wheaton looks at how this proposed legislation would make Michigan more business friendly.
Business research company Statista Consumer Insights says nearly 40% of U.S. consumers use grocery delivery services like Instacart and Shipt. However, those companies are paying extra to operate here in Michigan. As lawmakers are hoping to fix that, introducing legislation that would allow those companies to deduct sales tax from certain transactions.
They reached out and they said, hey, we love the state of Michigan, we love doing business with Meijer and Walmart and everybody, but we're getting double taxed, and that's not a good thing.
Under current Michigan law, delivery companies working with local merchants must collect and pay a sales tax on transactions, which is what you'd expect. Where the problem comes in is that those companies are essentially paying a second sales tax when they collect the tax from the consumer.
They probably came about before Shipt and Instacart were even a thought, and so it's just, is Michigan modernizing for these new businesses and for these new business models to make them, essentially attract them to the state of Michigan? And I think this bill would do that.
The bills would allow the Michigan Department of Treasury to let grocery delivery services to deduct sales tax they've paid to retailers from their own tax liabilities. Bill's sponsor, Republican Representative Graham Filler, said the legislation would be a big help to companies like Shipt, who recently made layoffs back in October after seeing demand level off.
We talked to Treasury, which does the intake of taxes. They said, this is a real problem. We acknowledge that. And we said, okay, let's go forward.
Now, Representative Filler says he has spoke with the Treasury Department and says changes have to be made in order to make Michigan a more business-friendly state. Reporting here in Lansing, I'm Zachariah Wheaton, News 10.
Representative Filler predicts these bills will move through the legislature very quickly. New information tonight, the state Supreme Court has ruled that 2 men who ran a robocall campaign during the 2020 election were correctly charged for their crimes. This comes after an appeal was filed by Jack Berkman and Jacob Wall. Both men were charged with using robocalls to discourage black neighborhoods from voting in the 2020 election. Those calls were made to nearly 12,000 people with a 313 area code. The Supreme Court ruled that the charges against Wall and Berkman constitutes a criminal act. In a majority opinion, the justices say this was a depraved attempt to deter black people from voting. This morning in northern Michigan, the Michigan National Guard held its annual Pass in Review ceremony at Camp Grayling. Governor Gretchen Whitmer joined the National Guard at Camp Grayling this morning. The ceremony honors the National Guard's accomplishments over the past year. Fallen military members were also honored at this year's ceremony.
Since before World War I, Michiganders have trained here at Camp Grayling to defend the freedoms that we all hold dear. You are building on that rich legacy by forging your own powerful story. You have proven yourselves as sources of compassion and strength, stepping up to serve your fellow Michiganders with distinction.
Last year, Governor Gretchen Whitmer expanded the National Guard State Tuition Assistance Program to help with National Guard recruitment efforts. Happening right now in Owasso. It's an opportunity to see cars that are used in the military. Today was the kickoff of the Arsenal of Freedom car show. It's being held at the Steam Railroading Institute in Owasso. The event brings the community together to learn more about the impact America's railroads and military vehicles had during different wars. More than 25 cars will be on display over the weekend. There will also be different activities for families to enjoy.
And I had the opportunity to talk with actual veterans before they had passed away, and I tell their stories. So I actually pass them on to kids, and kids come out and see these Jeeps and these equipment, and they ask questions, and we try to pass on those stories to them so that the history stays alive. That's why we're called living historians.
The car show ends this Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is free to attend. Sunny blue skies in Holt on this Friday. Andy will tell us how this Father's Day weekend is shaping up next in his First Alert forecast. Plus, honoring an Army nurse tonight. We highlight a 106-year-old veteran about her experience in World War II. And here's a look at First Alert traffic. Smooth sailing on the roads outside of those normal construction zone slowdowns. We'll let you know if anything pops up. Thank you for watching News 10 at 6.
You're watching News 10 at 6 with David Andrews and Ann Emmerich.
You're going to make him as comfortable as you can. And that's what I did.
That is Mrs. Irene Hosking. She turned 106 this year. She was one of the first Army nurses to give anesthesia to injured soldiers during World War II. She sat down with News 10's Tanaya Jordan, reflecting on her experience as an Army nurse in Australia, caring for the wounded.
That's me. That's me. It was up to me to make those fellows as comfortable as possible while in my care, and they got the best that I could give.
It was more than 80 years ago when Irene Hoskin joined the Army as a nurse.
Men had to call you Lieutenant Irene.
She says she worked in a field hospital in Australia during World War II, caring for patients with severe amputations. She became one of the first women to provide anesthesia before surgery.
One of the doctors looked at me and said, "You are going to learn to give anesthesia." So, yes, sir.
It was a task that Irene says she never took lightly.
Because doing anesthesia, you have the patient under your control. Does he live? Does he die? You make sure he lives.
According to the National World War II Museum, less than 1% of World War II veterans are living. In April, Irene turned 106 years young. She says her service didn't just include physically caring for wounded patients. She says she was there for them emotionally. In Owasso,
USA, hooray!
Tanaya Jordan, News 10.
I love it. After returning home from the Army, Mrs. Hosking continued to serve veterans through Mid-Michigan VFW organizations before stepping down in 2022. She was the first female commander of Michigan Shiawassee County VFW Council. God bless her. Thank you for your service. A beautiful Friday evening out there, Andy. What are we doing in here?
I know, it's comfortable. Humidity's gone. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. We'll be again tomorrow. Really another nice day.
Good.
We'll start cranking up the heat a little bit Sunday and then all next week. Yeah, so we're probably looking at multiple first alert weather days next week.
Okay.
So, because the heat's going to be oppressive.
Right.
It really is. Take a look at our humidity. Well, this is dew point. That measures the air temperature. The air would have to cool to get to 100% humidity. And it's got to drop all the way to the low 50s. So whenever time you see anything under 60, we're not too bad. And we had a day earlier this week where those dew points were in the 30s and 40s. So there's still some dry air. The mugginess will not be around tomorrow either. This will allow our temperatures tonight to cool back down to the low 50s. So don't use that air conditioning yet. It's going to get turned on probably before Sunday's done. The upper level pattern shows a core of heat coming at us throughout the weekend. It's going to build on the eastern half of the nation. Almost looks like it pulses at us like a heartbeat here. Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that core of the heat's going to be in the eastern half of the nation, including us, where those temperatures will be well into the 90s. Now, we call something called the ring of fire. Around the core of all this heat and humidity, you get storms that form, so they'll be right on the edge throughout the next several days. We'll keep an eye on it. If we do get an afternoon shower or storm in the middle of next week, it would just cool it temporarily and then just go right back up again once that pulls away. For us, it's clear skies tonight. You see some cloudiness way out to the west. Those are high clouds with the introduction of that warm and muggy weather. We'll see them late tomorrow, which you may also see with our bright blue sky in the morning give way to there's a little bit of smoke coming in as this westerly flow comes across the nation. No big deal, but it just won't be a bright blue sky in the afternoon because of that. Our hour by hour shows pretty good night, heading down to 50-52. As we go through the daytime tomorrow, another really, really good looking day. Some high clouds late into the overnight. Now there is a push of warm air. This is actually the warm front going north with a low pressure spinning along it. So Dad's Day here is not bad, but just north of us there'll be showers and storms the second half of the day, so we get missed on that one. Then the warm front hangs up, and that's where all the showers and storms will be to start next week. We'll just have to keep an eye on it, whether that wavers or not, but we're in the core of that heat, and that means looks like that heat wave is going to be starting in on Sunday, but the hottest is Monday through Friday, mid-90s, lows in the 70s, heat index temperatures getting over triple digits. There'll probably be some advisories for that heat as well from the Weather Service. The 10-day temperature trend just shows it the best. I don't think I have to say anything else after showing you that. For tonight, we're looking at clear and comfortable conditions. 52 tomorrow, a lot of sunshine just like this morning, 75 at lunchtime. We'll spend most of the day in the 70s and top out around 80 when some of those high clouds drift in the afternoon. Our Sunday, partly cloudy at times, but a lot of sunshine at 89, 96 Monday, 95 Tuesday, 95 Wednesday. I think our first scattered storm possibility is Thursday and Friday, but it doesn't change the temperatures. It just adds to the humidity as we'll stay in those 90s. Some summers, once in a while you get a trend of 2, 3, 4 days of 90s. Right. We could do 4, we could do more than 4, probably 6. And it gets oppressive.
It is remarkable. Okay, thank you, Andy. Another state championship for an area high school team and a remarkable school year. Tim has those details next in sports.
Good evening. What a sports school year it's been at Jackson Lumen Christi High School. State titles last fall in football and girls cross country. Another capture today and maybe a fourth tomorrow as well. The Division IV girls soccer state title game today at Michigan State's DeMartin Stadium against Kalamazoo Christian. 4 minutes into the game, Cody Rouge with a foot race puts home the first goal. Christian tied and the game went into a shootout because nobody scored in overtime. Lumen senior keeper Izzy Ermatinger starts things off with a goal. She made some crucial saves in this game, especially late, none bigger than this. That's the ball game. For the first time ever, Jackson Lumen Christi girls soccer is state champion. It beat Kalamazoo Christian 2-1 on penalty kicks.
It feels absolutely amazing. I wish we didn't go to a shootout. It's a crappy way to lose in a state final, and but it sure felt good to win it either way. We've seen Izzy make saves like that all year. We know that she plays like that all the time. She played out of her mind. She's an absolutely amazing keeper. We're going to miss her a lot next year for sure.
Maple Valley's state championship bid ended this morning in the Division IV semifinals in baseball against defending state champion Beale City. First time in the state semifinals since 1975. Beale City's very good. After a 3-run Beale City first inning, Maple Valley got outstanding defense in the third. Jacob McDonald, quick hands on the comebacker, turns 2 to end the inning and keep this one a 3-run game. Fourth inning, Lions got on the board. Tegan McDonald puts it out to left field. Camden Carpenter scored. 3-1 Beale City led. Maple Valley had chances, but not enough in this one. 5-1 the final. Maple Valley season comes to an end with a 29-8 season record.
Our kids believed early in the year we could do this. We didn't care who we played. We know we got a lot of respect for Beale City, what they've done. But there was never a doubt for us, and I'm so proud of these kids.
Meanwhile, Lumen Christi's baseball team hoping to win a fourth school state title tomorrow with a 9 a.m. Division III state title game against Watervliet. Here's Lumen with a miraculous 3-run, 2-out comeback in the final inning of yesterday's semifinal game against Charlevoix, to the delight of head coach Phil Clifford.
It's really amazing. It's great for the kids, great for the program, especially the little kids. All these little kids I see in the stands and all our fans and the support we had from all the Lumen Christi community, and it's tremendous. So it's great for the program, and we're just going to keep building on it.
Here's a happy group of Lansing Lugnuts last night. 3 pitchers and the catcher combining to record the second no-hitter in franchise history of a home game. The Lugnuts finally found a way to beat the high-flying Cedar Rapids Colonels last night. A no-hitter. That's the final out of the game. A strikeout by Colton Johnson, the 3rd Lansing pitcher of the night. The 4th no-hitter overall in Lugnuts history. 8-0 final, but of course it was only the 2nd ever at home. Michigan State Junior golfer, here she is, Shannon Kennedy, playing for the Michigan Amateur Women's title this afternoon at Plum Hollow. She won her semifinal this morning. She won her afternoon championship match 2-up over Caledonia's Elise Fennell. With the victory, Shannon Kennedy automatically qualifies to play in the U.S. Women's Amateur Tournament. That'll be later this summer. Meanwhile, Oklahom's 36-year-old Eric Lillebo back off to the Canadian Mini Tours next week in Vancouver after here winning his 2nd Michigan Open yesterday in Rochester. Lillebo won by 4 shots. He won the title in 2019 as well. He finished yesterday 6 under par. And does he see himself chasing his pro golf dreams indefinitely down the road?
It's a good question. I love the game. I love what I do. And that's basically it. I love it. I love the grind of it. I put up with the travel. I love competing.
Meanwhile, the 10th annual Meyer LPGA Classic being played this week at Blythefield Country Club near Grand Rapids. The superstar Nelly Korda may end up likely missing the cut. Nelly Korda, the headliner at this tournament, she's had previous success. She won in 2021. She's had 4 top 10 finishes in Grand Rapids. She shot rounds this week, though, 76, then 67 today, 1 under par, but likely to miss the cut. And yet she says she loves playing in this tournament each year.
The entire town gets behind this event, and I know that last year they had record-breaking attendance, and hopefully they break that record again this year. But it's just really nice to see everyone in this town support this event.
All right, so Father's Day weekend, Men's Open, and then you got the LPGA tournament in Grand Rapids for the women pros there. Tigers open a 3-game series at Houston tonight. Fred's in with the late sports. He'll have everything for you update between now and then.
Excellent.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Mr. Stout. Sunny skies over the Michigan State campus in East Lansing as the weekend gets underway. Andy will have a final check of the forecast when we come back. And as we head to break, we are now just 41 days out from the kickoff of the Paris Olympics. It all gets started with the opening ceremony on July 26th, right here on WILX TV 10.
Never miss another big story. Sign up for the News 10 newsletter today.
All right, give the AC a break tonight.
Yep, they're all going to work overtime starting Sunday, all next week. Take a look at this 10-day outlook. That doesn't get like this very often, obviously. 89 to near 90 Sunday, and then it's in the 90s. Could there be a storm Monday afternoon? Possible. More towards the end of the week as those numbers go up. And then we cool down to 89 next Sunday. A big cool down.
Right.
I don't see a break in the heat, really. It's a muggy weather right on through that 10-day. When you look at, basically the rest of the month of June, it's still well above average nationwide with the core of the heat over the East Coast and us. And as far as precipitation, again, it's widely scattered and just slightly above normal here and there. It's nothing you can hang your hat on when you have this kind of dome of heat. We'll be giving tips out as we go through the weekend and next week how to stay cool. And reminder, don't run appliances during the middle of the day. We need that power for air conditioning.
For air conditioning, exactly. Good advice. All right, thank you, Andy. That is our 6 o'clock report. Thanks for joining us. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Have a good night, good weekend.